you doing today? Welcome to GuitarLessonFinder.com. Today we're going to lesson 2, weekly lesson 2 we're going to do today. And what we're going to talk about is build on what I did in week 1, which was talk about the names of the strings, E, A, D, G, B, E. So if you haven't looked at that yet, go back and look at lesson 1. If you already know the names of the strings, no worries. Let's just move on ahead. So, what we're going to look at today is I want to teach you a little bit. This is going to be basic musical theory, and at the same time we're going to learn the notes on the first, or I guess the 6th and 5th strings, but the top 2 strings closest to you, which is the E, the low E, and the A string. Before we get going into that, I want to talk to you about a couple of quick things. What it is first of all, is the musical alphabet. So the musical alphabet is A through G, right? We've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we've got some sharps or flats in there as well. For instance, we've got A, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, E, F, so on and so on. We've got a D sharp in between D and E as well. There are some sharps in there. We don't want to worry about those yet. That's getting a little too advanced. What I want to talk about first is just those whole notes, no incidentals, no sharps, no flats. So when we talk about just a note like an E, that 6th string, the one closest to us here, that's an E note. If we play the 1st fret there, that's an F note. If we play the 3rd fret there, that's a G. And if we play the 5th fret, that's an A. Okay, so how do I know that? Well, there's actually a pattern that you can learn here, and it's below me right here in the video, a little bit of an explanation as to what it is we're talking about. And basically, between all notes on the guitar neck, all whole notes like that, like or a non-incidental note, an E, a D to an E, or an A to a B, there's what's called a whole step. Now, a whole step, if you've played piano before, this is going to make sense to you because each key on the piano is a half step. But the guitar neck is divided up in the same way. Each fret is actually a half step. So, if we're playing F on the 1st fret of our low E string, we go up a whole step to get to the G. And a whole step would be 2 frets, because like I just mentioned, 1 fret is a half a step. So 2 halves make a whole, or 2 halves equal 1 whole step. So we go up a whole step. I don't know if you can see that from there, but I'm going up from the 1st fret to the 3rd fret. That's a whole step, that's 2 frets. Now, just to make matters a little more complicated here, there's 2 places where there's no sharp or flat between the notes. That means that there's only a half step between those 2 notes. Those places are between E and F and B and C. So, you might have caught this when I first started showing you this just a minute ago, but I said E, open E note is the open low E string, and then F is on the 1st fret. Now if I only go 1 fret from the open E, that's a half step, right? E, F. In comparison to what I showed you a moment ago, which is from F to G, was a whole step, 2 frets, right? 1st fret to the 3rd fret. And from G to A on the low E string, on the 6th string, is another whole step. We'll go from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret, okay? So, those are the 2 things you want to keep in mind. You want to keep in mind that there's a half step between E and F, and a half step between B and C. So let's look at the next string. I stopped here because you'll notice when I hit the 5th fret on that low E, it's an A, which is the same as the string below it, the 5th fret, the A string. So let's take a look at this. So our open string is A, our 2nd fret is B. Now remember what I said just a moment ago, there's a half step between B and C. So the 3rd fret is the C note, not the 4th fret. That would be a C sharp. So A, B, 2nd fret, C is the 3rd fret. And guess what? D, a whole step up from the C on the 3rd fret, is the 5th, right? Now I'm not going to go through the whole guitar neck here because I want to leave you something to play around with. Since you should know the names of all the strings, you should be able to take this information and you should be able to figure out the different notes on each string, starting with the open string and working up, right? So remember, just to recap, we've got our notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A half step on the guitar neck is 1 fret. So a whole step is 2 frets. Between the notes, between E and F and B and C, there's only a half step. You can see that illustrated when you play your open E, first fret on that E string is an F, right? Or when we played A, and then B is on the 2nd fret, B to C is 2, 3, 2nd to 3rd fret on that A string, okay? So, that's the basics. Believe it or not, that's a little bit of musical theory for you. And if that is a little confusing, you know, watch this video a couple times, then go grab your guitar and see if you can figure out what the other notes are on the other strings. So, thanks for watching this week's video, and check back next week for our next weekly video on GuitarLessonFinder.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.